this isn't just an Iron Man, this is the Iron Man, because this is the diecast Mark III 2.0. Let's take a look. Hi everyone, welcome to 1/6 Figure Focus, and in this video, as the intro said, we're going to be taking a look at the Hot Toys 1/6 scale diecast Iron Man Mark III, based on the likeness of Robert Downey Jr., fantastic head sculpt, and based on the appearance of the Mark III suit up from the 2008 movie Iron Man. Now this is essentially the first proper fully functioning Iron Man suit. Now I know it's the Mark III, and people would argue that the Mark 1 is the first, because, well, they'd be right. And then there was the Mark 2, of course, but this is they were essentially, you know, one he built in a cave with a box of scraps, as the line goes, and the second one was kind of a prototype, and it was unfinished, it wasn't fully painted, and he didn't solve the icing issue. So this is the first real, I suppose, it's the first Iron Man suit that he actually took out into battle and had that famous kind of Gamera scene, which, you know, if you're a fan of this movie, I'm guessing that's probably in one of your favorite moments from this particular movie. So this is the type of figure that if you were putting together a movie icons display, this one should make the cut. I mean, it is the Mark III. It's got that traditional kind of hot rod red and gold. It's definitely a triple threat. I mean, let's face it. Again, just in case you're not following the channel and you don't know, like typically 90% of the time, for something to come into my collection, it kind of needs to be a triple threat. I need to love the character, I need to love the source material, and I need to love that particular version of the character. So Iron Man, Tony Stark, love the character. The 2008 Iron Man movie, it's one of the best MCU movies and effectively launched the MCU, so absolutely love the source material. And I gotta say, I love this silhouette. I love this suit, not just the red and the gold and even just the silver bits here, the circular arc reactor, but just the silhouette. If you could just put this backlit and you could just have it, you know, basically just have the whole outline of the figure in black, the silhouette is particularly cool. I like the way it's curved at the chest. It's not my favorite Iron Man though. The Mark VI would be my favorite Iron Man. However, if I had to whittle down and just pick one, okay, I'd probably still pick the Mark VI, because I love that leaner design, but it still has some of the coolest aspects that I really like about the Mark III. But then it's kind of, like I said, a leaner design. It's a more angular, kind of a leaner chest and torso. It's not as round. I do like the round chest on this, but I actually prefer the leaner look and the silhouette of the Mark VI. So you still got a bit of that bulk. It's still a man in a mech suit. It's not nanotech yet. The triangular arc reactor, I just love that as well. But if I had to just pick one, it'd be tough. Like for me, the most iconic suits are the Mark III and the Battle Damage Mark 85. This one started it all. The Battle Damage Mark 85 essentially finished everything. But the Mark VI is still my favorite. Anyway, I am picking this one up. But however, now this is out now in Hong Kong. I'm assuming if you got it from Sideshow, whatever, it has hit waitlist, I believe. Just a quick check. This is Sideshow. There's a collector edition, an exclusive edition. They're both $455. That is expensive. I know it's a diecast Iron Man. I know the fact that you're paying the Marvel tax, the Robert Downey Jr. tax. I'd imagine this is one of those 6 scale figures that is on the higher end. But $455, quite expensive. But if one thing that we know, that if you have a diecast Iron Man piece from Hot Toys, one thing they really do well is engineer those Hot Toys collectibles, those Iron Man Hot Toys collectibles. Yeah, so they're great at doing Iron Mans. Right, so the collector edition and the exclusive edition are both $455. They're both on waitlist at Sideshow, but you can get them from other retailers. I personally buy from Lime Rock Toys because they're a reputable Hong Kong based reseller. Again, you buy whoever you want, I don't care. That's who I buy from because they, you know, good customer service, good prices, yada yada. Every time I buy from Sideshow, I get subjected to 30% of import taxes. So imagine you had to pay for every figure you had to pay for. You add together the cost of the figure and the shipping, and then you purchase it and you add on another 30%. Come on, this hobby's too expensive for that kind of crap. So yeah, and there's no shade off Sideshow. It's not their fault. Anyway, so collector edition, exclusive edition, $455. It's officially been released in Hong Kong. I assume people who bought from Sideshow will be getting their emails. Sideshow does say October, which we're in October now, until December 2023. So we're going to go and get rid of that, and we're going to take a look at some of these photos. One thing I want to start off with, though, is this is everything that he comes with. So the only difference between this special edition and the other, I think, collector edition, whatever it's called, is the special edition comes with this battle damaged helmet. It's not actually a Sideshow exclusive because, like I said, I've got this on pre-order with Lion Rock Toys and they've sourced this particular one for me. I wanted this accessory. Typically, if the accessory is just a hologram, blue piece of plastic, I don't need it. But if the accessory has something that will add to the display, I tend to take it. Now, the one hologram I really like is the Order 66 hologram. I actually use that. It's the only one I think I've ever used. But there are a few kind of cool ones. But anyway, this particular special edition bonus part, this battle damaged helmet from the Mark III, this makes sense because you could pose this on that base as if he's just vanquished the Ironmonger, the same way, you know, from the end of Iron Man 1. But if you remember, he had the helmet crushed. It was ripped off him and crushed and stuff like that. So you could actually expose the head sculpt, have this on the ground or something like that. Put all the battle damage parts, so you get to incorporate them, and then have it on the Ironmonger diorama, which I do actually appreciate they have it. So what does it come with? $455. If you get the special edition or regular, still $455. But if you get the special edition, you get this battle damage Mark III helmet. So you got the likeness here of Robert Downey Jr. I think it's a bloody good sculpt. I'm looking up here and I've got the Mech Test Tony 2.0 and I think the sculpt is possibly the same, but here I've noticed there's some blood on it and there's also a few like kind of stray hairs, which the paint applications have been done correctly, and I believe these are the prototype images, but we're going to look at the blogger image momentarily. Comes with battle damaged chest plate, number of new moving parts and flaps on the back, obviously, you know, the typical light up Iron Man parts, the chest, the eyes, the repulsors. I'm not going to bother with those batteries. I'm going to order a fusion kit for this, I imagine. You've got a clean chest plate as well. You've got those kind of like micro rocket launchers. I think these are the ones where he uses in Gomera, where there's some of these terrorists they've some of the locals hostage, they're holding guns to their heads, and of course him and Jarvis, the computer, targets them all and they get shot with these. They're kind of like little tiny missiles or little bullets that actually track. Yeah, and then of course on the right arm here you've got that tiny little rocket which he uses to blow up that tank. And let's face it, if you're an Iron Man fan, you've seen the movie, which I'm sure you have, everyone loves that scene. Then you got this thing which I believe is a shield. Have the Mark III iron quarter scale behind me. The reason I got the quarter scale is because I don't think they've got this right yet. They have a plastic version of that. Maybe it was good for its time, but it does not look good now. Then they had the first die-cast one, which was undersized. The paint applications don't seem as good. The head sculpt wasn't as good. But the main thing I didn't like about that is it had a weird swap-out torso. You had a neutral torso and then a twisted torso. So the articulation wasn't that great. And I wasn't feeling that, so I wasn't working backwards to get that. So I think a lot of people were looking for this 2.0, and this is a 2.0 that's fully justified. I mean, look at it. The correct scaling, because the other one was undersized. None of that swap out, neutral twisted torso crap. Improved paint applications, a fantastic diorama base with light up, and then of course that head sculpt as well. So yeah, you can see all these different parts as well. These are the kind of swap out, clean and battle damage parts, and of course the all the different little the shield and little rockets and stuff like that to weaponize them. Right, let's take a look at the actual photo. Sorry, not photo, yeah, the blogger photos. This is going on a bit, I do apologize. Right, so first of all, absolutely love this image. It's just, if given the choice between nanotech or the man in a mechanical suit like a walking tank, I'm always going to go towards the likes of the Mark III, the 6, the 7. It just, it's more Iron Man to me, even though I really like the nanotech approach as well, and I like how the suit evolved, and I love the Mark 85, but I gotta say I'd lean towards like the 6 and the 7 and the 3. I love the chunk on this figure, just the silhouette, the hot rod red, even like that's not a battle damaged chest plate he has there, but you still see some pitting and little scuff marks, which would be, even if the actual Iron Man is not battle damaged, it would make sense that it would be weathered over time as it gets used. Like, I don't know, an explosion goes off next to him, bits of stone and metal and stuff hit the suit and they cause little scratches even though the suit is still intact. That adds to the weathering, that adds to the character. It makes the Iron Man look a lot more real. Like, these are, I do want a 1/6 scale representation of what I see on the screen on my shelf. That's why I pay these high prices. Right, so next one there, even just a kind of a different, just a slightly, it's very different pose, but just a kind of different lighting, so it looks a darker red here, so it looks brighter here because of the lighting, and it looks darker here. I really like that head sculpt. I mean, I don't think there's any question for me who that is. I remember people complaining, and I can see why, when the prototype images first went up for this, that they said he looks a bit too old, because in 2008, that was like, at this stage was, what's 2008? 2008 is what, 15 years ago? He looked significantly younger. But even at then, Robert Downey Jr., I'm pretty sure when he was filming Iron Man 1, I think he was well into his 40s. He might have been approaching 50. You can let me know in the comment section his exact age, but he wasn't a young man. He was like coming up on middle age maybe. I think he was in his 40s when he was doing this particular movie. But the prototype image, it had a lot of definition on it. There was a lot of wrinkles, and I always thought it would soften, because a lot of these head sculpts soften from prototype to final product, and I think that's what's actually happened. So obviously when that soften and there's now wrinkles aren't as pronounced, there's not as much texture, it makes him look a bit younger. So I think they've done a good job on this head sculpt. I think it's a solid head sculpt. I don't think it's like absolutely mind-blowing. I thought the prototype was strange. The prototype was a little bit better, but it did make him look older. So for this here, I would say solid 8, maybe a bit higher. I don't think it's a 10. I don't think it's like one of the greatest head sculpts I've ever seen. But look, it's a far cry from the Tony Stank or the Ant-Mans or even that Doc Ock. Hands in the air. The Doc Ock, I still went for it, because as a figure at whole, I still think that it's worth voting with my wallet, and I do think it's still a fantastic figure. But let's face it, that head sculpt was poor. This head sculpt, far better than that. Probably just shouldn't be in the same sentence or conversation. Love that. He's just about to take out that tank. I think a lot of people are going to be recreating that particular pose. Even that here, I want to use this base. I will use that base. I'm pretty sure the base lights up as well. I don't think there's anything USB here. I know the figure isn't USB, but I might actually check to see if the diorama is. But either way, I'm looking towards fusions there and getting them lit up like that. Pretty simple pose. I think I will go for the rocket pose though, to be honest. It's a great pose I saw last night when I was going through some of these images. So yeah, you get the battle damage part there. He's holding the battle damaged helmet. That's even a simple pose. Well, it's not too simple. I'd imagine it'd be relatively simple to do. Looks pretty damn cool, and really incorporating that Ironmonger diorama base. I won't be posing it like that, but it still looks pretty damn cool and pretty damn imposing. Yeah, so that's kind of like a movie poster. He's obviously, this is when he's after firing the rocket in Gamera, blowing up that tank. And even I like the way he dodged the rocket just before he, retaliated. I thought that was pretty damn cool. Yeah, again, just fantastic looking piece, fantastic looking pose. I love the way you can see all the different flaps and moving parts here on the back of the calves and the shoulders, shoulder blades. And of course, he's got the two shields on either side up. I think that's a great sculpt. Solid 8, maybe a little bit higher. Don't think I'd quite give it a 9. I definitely wouldn't give it a 10. I won't be posing like that, but this is, again, simple pose. I like this, and I'll tell you why I like this, because you're incorporating the base. I do like when you have, like, say, one of those poses where someone has conquered someone or defeated someone. I've got the kind of post Sarlacc pit Boba Fett from the Mandalorian behind me. That comes with a battle damaged stormtrooper helmet, and he's standing there with his, I think it's his right foot on the helmet, as if he's just, destroyed a battalion of stormtroopers like he did in the show, and he's holding the gun up like that. It looks pretty damn cool. Adds something special. Of course, you can see Cad Bane just directly behind me. He's standing on a remnant trooper. But I really like that. Super stuff there. Again, I'm a sucker for weathering. I'm a sucker for scratching and all that kind of stuff, and all the battle damage posing. I think it adds more texture, it adds more realism, giving this that impression that it's a shrunken down 6-scale version, which essentially it is. Not gone on those shield looking things, to be honest. I don't think I'd pose it like that. The space where he stands, that's another thing. Like, one of the advantages of having one of the feet up on top of Ironmonger's head is that it gives a bit more space for the other foot to be potentially flat down there. It's a really small ledge that he has to stand on. I think you'll be able to see that later on better. And this is the pose. Like, I love the way he's almost leaning back there. It's almost like there's not an arch in the back, but it gives the impression that he's curved back, like he's leaning back to fire that. I really like that, because if you look at his line of sight, it seems to be matching up obviously with the rocket and the arm. And even like, so he's the fist closed on the left arm, and then the right hand is just open as if he's just, using the repulsor. I'm not sure what he's firing at there, because at the end of the movie, obviously, Ironmonger was the only one he was fighting. But the thing is, it doesn't have to be canon when you're posing it. I quite like that. I quite like that. That'd be something I would definitely consider. Head sculpt looks great there. And the battle damage looks great there. Yeah, you see there's a very narrow ledge there. See all these poses, some of these poses are relatively simple, but because the Mark III it's such a beautiful looking armor from such an iconic movie, and it just really pops with the red and the gold. You could stand straight up and down and it still has a lot of presence. Yeah, love this. This is on the pre-order list. It has been pre-ordered. Really looking forward to when this arrives in the collection. This is probably going to go into, I'm working on a kind of like a movie icons display for the IKEA Mills bow that I have downstairs in the living room. My vision is that if someone walks into the house, doesn't matter regardless of where they're from, if they're into movies or comic books or not, if they're into science fiction or not, whether they're young or old or whatever, if anyone comes in, they should be able to look at like these 8 figures I have down there and go, all right, that's Batman, that's a Joker, oh, that's from the Dark Knight, that's, you know, it's Terminator, it's Robocop, whatever. Just iconic characters. And let's face it, like this character is iconic, this suit is iconic, and this movie is iconic at this stage. I think that's a great pose there. I love that. Yeah, I think they've done. I love the blogger photos on this, to be honest. I think they were fantastic. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. That's the end of the video. This is 100% a cop for me, as Collector Joe, you would say. But yeah, this is in the bag. It's been pre-ordered. I think it's like second batch or something. But anyway, that's the end of the video. If you want to support the channel, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment. Let me know if you're picking this guy up or not. You can also follow me on Instagram and on X. That's it. That's the end of the video. See you in the next one. Good luck.